to these Women's Council Realtors webinars. My name is Amber De La Garza, and I'm the productivity specialist. I specialize in helping entrepreneurs and business owners improve their productivity to increase their profits while still having time for what matters most. And I'm really, really excited to be here today to share with you my strategy that I have used time and time again with so many clients with thousands, tens of thousands of emails in their inbox. And this methodology that I'm going to share with you today has actually transformed the way that they interact with their inbox, that their inbox is under control now, and it's not controlling them. So I'm really, really excited to get started. Alrighty, so actually, if you, I just want to make sure everything's going because this is the first time I started it all myself. If you guys can just raise your hands and just let me know that that you are here. So Linda, I think you're on. Christy, okay, excellent, thank you. All right, wonderful. So in this crazy, crazy world of email, and everybody wants to communicate to us via email, how do we get our emails under control? In today's webinar, I'm going to share with you my 5 simple email decisions to maintain your inbox, 5 simple steps to tame your inbox, the consequences of delayed decision making, and the problem with checking your email and what to do instead. So everyone's checking their email, and sometimes it's habitual to check it multiple all day long. And I'm going to give you a solution on how to get out of your inbox and make more productive use of your time. Okay, so let's just start with this astonishing stat, okay? It says professionals send on average 126 emails per day and receive 88 emails per day. That means that you are literally having to deal with over 78,000 emails per year in your inbox. And I know that some people are going to be on the high end of this and the lower end of this, but anywhere near close to 78,000 emails in your inbox requires a process. It requires a system. And I am going to share that with you today to stop the overwhelm. An inbox of emails is the consequence of delayed decision making, which costs you valuable time that can otherwise be spent on profitable uses of your time, which for me is your most productive use of your time. In case you're new to these webinars, let me just begin with sharing with you and inviting you to my definition of productivity. My goal is to help entrepreneurs invest their best time into their best activities. And for you in real estate, this is really, really simple. That's the good news. Your best time is either be it in marketing and visibility and getting in front of people so that they know that you're in business and that you can help them in real estate, or it's literally sitting down at their kitchen tables or in your office conference room and doing a listing presentation or a buyer consultation. Or it's actually servicing them. So, you know, marketing their homes and servicing all the things that it takes to negotiate the offers and then show the property and get the deal going. So those are the 3 areas in which are your most productive uses of time because it's closest to the dollar. But what happens in business is we get so overwhelmed with all the other things that it takes to run our business. And one of those things is this email, okay? I gotta tell you, I actually did an amazing event for NorCal, Northern California, did a Northern California state event where 10 networks came together. And I was able to do the keynote in the morning and a workshop in the afternoon. And it was, first of all, just amazing to meet so many of you face to face. And so many of you had said that you regularly come and you watch and you listen to these webinars. So I want to thank you. So if you're on right now, thank you so much for, you know, visiting with me and coming to that event. But one of the things that we talked about, I actually did a survey and I asked, how many emails do you have in your inbox? And I started with, do you have more than 50 emails in your inbox? Right, keep your hand up. Over 100, keep your hand up. Over 200, keep your hand up. Over 500, keep your hand up. And long story short, I was upwards of 10 to 15,000, and several people still had their hand up. And so while that's not necessarily the norm, it's very, very frequent that I see that there are just an overwhelming number of emails in inboxes. The average that my clients have and people that I work with are around 2,500 to 3,500 is what I normally see in people's inboxes. And so I'm just sharing that with you to give you an idea of where you may be in that email overwhelm, or how many emails are in your inbox. But even if you have 100 emails in your inbox, it's the same as having 15,000 emails, because what happens is at some point you shut off, and at some point you start avoiding your inbox. And in your business, your inbox may be where your leads are meeting you, where they're emailing you, and where your clients are emailing you. And we all know that it's all the other parties in the transaction that are communicating with you through email. And when that place becomes so overwhelming and not a pleasant place to be, and yet your career and your businesses require you to be in there, it becomes this challenge of, do I want to check my email? But I have to check my email. And my experience is it becomes such an unpleasant experience that you just don't like it. And then it kind of bleeds over into kind of like not liking what you do very much. And so what I have found is that people avoid it, or they're in it all the time. It's going to be one or the two. Either I'm not in it, I'm avoiding it, I'm in it as little as I can, or you're in it all the time, just trying to keep your head afloat and just trying to keep up on things. And what that does is it doesn't allow you to step away and do those high value activities without being super distracted at the very least, okay? So my belief is that an inbox that is full is actually the consequence of delayed decision making. And what that means is you haven't decided yet what to do with the email. Because in our emails, the way that people communicate with us, our emails are a place for people to literally jump into your world and ask you to read something, be somewhere, do something. Like they're literally asking for your time, focus, and energy. And that's every single email that comes in. And there's something really, really real. And I just want to make sure you all can see my video. Because I'm actually talking to you in video, so I hope everyone can see that. Okay, great. Go ahead and put it in the chat if you cannot see me in video, because this would be really boring since I've been on the same slide for a while. All right, ladies. What I was saying was it's delayed decision making, because decision making can be extremely overwhelming. It can be so overwhelming that we stop making the decisions. And there's something very true to be said about a decision fatigue, okay? So what that means is you're in your inbox and you're making a decision of what needs to be done with the emails, and it seems so overwhelming. All right, well, I got a solution for you, okay? So we all know we have to be in our inboxes. We all know that it's the way that people are communicating with us. So let's knock it out of the park to be the most efficient method of conquering your inbox. Now, I want to start this off to say that if you're using your inbox as your to-do list, you're using your inbox completely wrong. Now, that's a bold statement, because I know that almost all of you are actually using your inbox as your to-do list. And last time I checked, you are not going to find somebody emailing you that's literally tapping you on your inbox saying, hey, get after your goals. Go lead generate, go do your thing. No, they're tapping on your inbox saying, how can you help me? How can you do something for me? And so when we live in our inboxes as our to-do list, we're actually making our to-do list somebody else's agenda. And when we do that, we're giving our power up to actually take control of our day, and also take control of how we invest our time into the activities that are getting your attention. All right. So I'm going to share with you how to get out of your inboxes being a to-do list. Can you actually leave me raise your hand if you know how to raise your hand in in the webinar platform that if you do use your inbox as a to-do list currently? Yes. Okay, yes, I'm seeing them come in. Yes, right? Because we weren't ever taught anything different. So here's the deal. Right now, I think that you probably have a very big tendency, or a huge tendency, to be checking your emails all day. And what I'm inviting you to do is process your emails. And the difference between checking your emails and processing them looks like this. So you're checking your phone and you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, I'll save that for later. Okay, yeah, good. Okay, I'll circle back to that. Okay, oh, I can answer that one really quick, and you shoot a quick response. And you kind of just keep going down them, but no true decision on what needs to happen to each email is being made. And so this is literally how you get hundreds and thousands of emails in your inbox, because you've been checking them and triaging them. And triaging means you're just jumping into your inbox to see if there's something that urgently needs your attention. And if not, you're jumping back out with the best of intentions of getting back in there and responding and handling each email. But the reality is that that's not always happening. All right. So my invitation to you is that you start processing your emails. And I'm going to teach you a 5-step process to process your emails. Now, is it true that you'll still probably check your emails? Sure. You might be in the middle of a deal and there's a closing coming up and you need to triage your email and you need to check and see if someone's communicating with you. But my advice is that you regularly schedule time on your calendar, or it's part of your daily routine, that you're going to schedule blocks of time to process your emails. And by doing this, it's going to allow you to stay on top of your emails and make sure nothing's falling through the cracks. Because heaven forbid, a lead comes in, someone says, hey, can you run comps on my house? It's a past client, right? And you're checking it because you're driving down the street and you're in between appointments and you're like, yep, I'm going to get to that. And then something happens in those 3 or 4 hours you're showing property, is that all these other emails come in. And then when you go to sit down at your desk, the email that needed your attention actually fell off the page and onto the second page. Or you start dealing with the emails from last in, first out. And so by the time you get to that important email, so much time has lapsed that you don't feel like you've given really good service to your client. Okay. And so by processing your email, it's going to fix all of that. It's going to make sure that things are systematically caught and that you know what to do with each email. All right, guys, 5 simple email decisions. You see, email fatigue and the lack of making decisions of what we do in our email come from feeling like there's so much that needs to happen with our emails, but you don't. It's actually really simple. And here we go. Number 1, so here's an overview, okay? And I actually have this as a free download at the end of the webinar where you can download this as a little printout that you can put on your computer or your laptop to remind you of these 5 simple steps on how to process your emails. Number 1, delete. Now, I wish that I could hear you sitting at your desk right now being like, okay, Amber, thanks for the amazing tip, right? Like, obviously I need to delete. But I'm here to tell you that while it's obvious and it's simple, it doesn't always happen. So what this means is an email comes in and you read it and you get the information you need out of it, and then you go on to the next one and you don't delete it. And so if there's a decision to be made, like it's spam or it's junk mail or it's just an FYI email, I'm urging you to delete it. And here's why. I want you to think of your inbox as like a pile of papers on your desk. Okay, so you literally have a pile of paper on your desk. If you had a pile of paper on your desk and about page number 30 on the pile is your important email. But above that, you have all these things that you've looked at and you've read and you re-look at and it's getting your attention. Let me ask you, how long does it take for you to go find and identify page number 30 that really needs your attention? Well, longer than it should, right? And so what we're doing is we're cutting away the clutter, and we're making sure that what stays in our inbox at this point are the things that really need our attention. So get into the delete mode. Find your delete button, okay? Now, a caveat to this is that perhaps there's something that needs to be saved, or and you can actually set up a folder that if you, instead of hit delete, that it actually moves it to being archived. And so if you're really afraid of hitting the delete button, there are other options, but don't let this stop you from getting it out of your inbox. Number 2, okay, so the email comes in, and the very first thing I want you to ask yourself after is, can this be deleted? Is, can this be forwarded to someone else? Now, this is just like a productivity strategy, period, is that we don't always have to accept everything that comes to us as our job or our task to do. And so one of the strategies that I use often is for people to get into the habit of, am I the best person to be doing this? Am I the one that needs to be doing this? Perhaps an email comes into you and it's clear that it should go to your transaction coordinator, or it should go to someone else on your team, or maybe your assistant, okay? Or maybe something's coming in from a third party in the transaction and you simply need to forward it to your client, all right? So I just want you to simply ask yourself, like, is this going to someone else? And if so, forward it off, all right? But once you do that, you are left with the email that's in your inbox, right? Like, you forwarded it, but you still have an email. And now you only have 2 choices with that email, because it's got to get out of your email. You're going to either, 1, delete it because now you forwarded it, or you're going to file that email because you want a record of it in your file structure, okay? Now, those are the 2 obvious options. But I think that you'll probably understand this one. How many times have you forwarded something off, sent something off into the world, into the abyss of digital email, and you never got a response? Like, the person never followed up, or they never did it. And when it becomes out of sight, out of mind, then those are the times that the things fall through the cracks. So what I have found is that what happens is we leave it in our inbox as a reminder or a trigger to follow up again, okay? So I've got a tip for you. This is what I do, and this is what I recommend often, and so I want you to give it a try. When you send the email that says, can you do the thing? Here's a copy, please do X, Y, and Z. You can actually BCC yourself on the email, which is blind carbon copy. And what that will mean is that the email will go out and it comes back to you. And the reason I like doing this is because when it comes back into me, I move it into a folder called, it's a WIP folder, a WFU folder, sorry, waiting for follow-up, WFU. And I have this part of my file folder structure, and I mark it so that it's at the top, and I put it in there. And here's the tip. You drag and drop it into the waiting for follow-up folder. And depending on how fast-paced your business is, you can review this folder on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis. And what you do is you're like, did I get a response? Yes or no? If you didn't, you can literally open the email, hit reply all, and the whole chain of the request and everything is in there, and you can bing them again. I utilize this all the time. And why this is beneficial is because if you save the original email, then you don't have a record of what you asked them to do and when you sent it. So when you follow back up with them, you don't have the whole conversation, right? So I really like using the BCC and then having a folder that I regularly check that lets me bing them to make sure things are moving forward, okay? So that's just one of my little hacks on how to make sure that all the things that you kind of send out into the world don't fall through the cracks, all right? So you want to create a waiting for follow-up folder and then check it regularly, and then just use that email as your reminder, and you're getting the original email out of your inbox. Sound good? Hey, also, ladies, and I'm sure we have a few guys in here too, but if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. I am monitoring the chat right now. And so if you do have any specific questions, we're gonna have time towards the end to answer them, or if it's on point and I see them right when I'm going over it, I'll be happy to answer them for you, okay? Okay, So number one is delete. Number two is forward. And I gave you a hack on how do you keep track of all the things you send out into the world. All right. And so you're going to create your own waiting for follow-up folder. All right, let's see. Number three is they email you and you've got to reply. And oftentimes these are short little replies, so you're going to respond to them that you're confirming you're going to be there or you got the information. There's some sort of response required. Now, I like these responses to be the ones that you can do within the time frame of processing your emails, okay? If a response requires a lengthy response, so 10 to 15 minutes, you're researching the neighborhood, you're researching the schools, you got to do a property search, like whatever that request of you is, if it's more than just a few minutes, I'm actually going to ask you to save it to one of these other decision makers, which is creating a to-do list, okay? Because what we want is that our processing our email time is very succinct and that you can get in and out within a certain time frame. And I'm not trying to be vague about the certain time frame because, but some people need 30 minutes 3 times a day. Some people need 15 minutes at the top of every hour. So the way in which you process your emails and how much time you utilize to process your emails is based on how many emails you get. Okay, there's some business owners and CEOs that are in their emails very, very little because so much else is being covered by other people on their team. So this is really a strategy that can work for anybody, but it's going to be based on your unique situation, okay? But what we're doing is creating a lot of efficiency because you're literally going through and making a decision on each one. Oh, okay, I forgot to tell you something really important. Checking your email is a lot like cherry picking your emails. And so what that looks like is, yeah, I'm going to do something with this, not with that. Yes, this, no, 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 no. Okay. And so there might be a few that get your attention and then you leave the rest. That's cherry picking your emails. When you process an email, you do not go to the next email until a decision has been made what to do with it. That is the key to all this. And in fact, it's the key to organizing any space at all, is that you want to touch it once and make a decision about it. And so we are applying those same principles to your inbox. Touch it once and make a decision with it. Okay, so I forgot to say that earlier. No more cherry picking. You're going to process. And when you process, the goal is to touch the email once and never look at it again until later if there's something you have to do with it. And I'll get into that detail in a minute. The other thing is that it's super inefficient to read and reread the same email. So when you're checking your email and triaging it, you're literally reading or scanning the email. And if you're not in a position to do anything with that or choose to not do anything with it, I guarantee 100% of the time that when you re-look at that email to then do something with it, you're rereading it. And I don't know about you, but I do not have more time, that I don't have extra time rather, to be reading and rereading emails. I honestly wonder sometimes if I have enough time to just read the emails once and make a decision with them. And so you really, really want to create efficiency with this and realize that you're wasting time every time you're looking at an email. And it's totally contributing to the overwhelm. All right. So back to number 3, you can see how passionate I am about this. I'm telling you, it's 5 simple decisions, but there's a lot of ways to create efficiency with this. So for number 3, you're replying. But once you reply, you have the same issue that you have when you forward it. What do you do with the original email? And I want you to either file it or delete it. Okay, that's it. It gets out of your email box. The decision has been made. You're going to file or delete it. All right. Number 4 is, so the information comes into you. All right. You read it, or it's for your information, or you're being copied on it because everyone in the transaction is being copied on it. There's no real action that needs to be taken. So you don't need to forward it to anybody. You don't need to reply. And so what that's going to do is leave that you're just going to file it away. One of the things that I see common with resistance to filing is that we think that the file folder structure needs to be complicated. And I'm here to tell you that if you have a complicated file folder structure, the decision of where to put that email is just too much for you. While you're buzzing away and doing your high value activities and, you know, being all the things we are in life, and a spouse and a parent and aunts and community involvement and volunteering, like, who has time to decide where this email should go of 100 folders in our inbox or in our file folder structure? Nobody. Now, we think that they've been created with great intentions, that we're seriously going to be so much more organized because everything has a folder. And it's just not true. I've just seen too many times that people are making there's too many decisions of where it should go. So here's my advice. I think you should keep it super simple. I think you should chunk them up to the broad, like to try and be broad categories. And I think that you should use subfolders, okay? So let's go through some examples here of subfolders. And if you have a folder structure that you love, like you're like, I have folders for all my clients by last name, or I have folders for all my clients by address, like go ahead and put it in the chat and I'll share it with everybody. But I recommend that you should probably have a folder that says prospects, a folder that says past clients, and a folder that says clients. And under clients, and under each of them, you'll have a subfolder, and you can do it by whatever works for you, okay? And what I mean by this is, here's an example. So if I were to create a folder in my home to file all my car stuff away, would I say, would I label it a car? Would I label it automobile? Would I label it Chevy? Like, all of that would work, and it's all referring to the same vehicle, but how much detail do I need? And what is the first word I think of when I have a paper that has to do with my car? Am I thinking the brand of the car, the model of the car? Do I just care that it's a car and everyone's car stuff in the house is in the car folder? That's okay, all right? So how can we apply that same strategy to our folders for work? I think that we should have very broad folders that just say either, you can go by client name. So do you go by last name and then first name? Or do you know your clients by first name and then last name? Like, how would you be searching for them? Okay, so you want to make it really simple. Or do you reference transactions by the address, right? Like maybe it's Elm Street. And so maybe the folder is just called Elm Street. Now, a tip here too, because I've done a lot of real estate folder organization, is that folders tend to want to organize numerically or alphabetically. And so if you're going to use addresses, I would recommend that they be named Elm 123, so the address second. Because if not, you're thinking street name first, address second, but it's gonna order itself by the numbers and the addresses. So a really quick tip hack is to do the street name and then the number. In any case, whatever you choose, keep it consistent. Consistency is key, so that you're always referencing things very, very quickly, and that's how you like to organize your folders digitally. So again, some options are first name, last name, first name, or just last name total, like, because there's multiple people in the family, or by address. Okay, so that was my rant. I think they should be subfolders, and I don't think that you should have all of these detailed folders for everything, okay? If you are volunteering, like let's say you're volunteering with Women's Council Realtors, I think there should be a folder that's just Women Council Realtors. And anything that has to do with that needs to be filed away should just be that, right? Because that's one aspect of your business and your professional life. If you're using Google, which Google is the #1 search program in the world, or so if you're using Gmail, or if you're using Outlook, I want you to lean on the search functions within those folders once you have broad folders, instead of trying to do this folder structure all yourself. I hope that makes sense. So your search function is going to be your friend. All right. That is a lot of resistance that comes to file folders. And if you're not using Gmail or Outlook and you're using some other email platform and you cannot drag and drop your emails into the folder, you've got to get a different email platform, okay? No questions asked. There are a lot of email platforms out there that you have to like click on the email, go scroll down all of the folders and say, move to this folder. Not efficient, will not work. You can't quickly move through your inbox. So drag and drop, Gmail or Outlook are great solutions for that. All right, so we covered file. I have some of my favorite file folder hacks too I want to share with you. Okay, so one is, I call it a WIP folder, WIP, and that stands for work in progress. And under my work in progress main folder, I'll have subfolders. And a subfolder might be website or branding or marketing flyers. So if this is a project that has a start and end date, it's a special project that I'm focusing on, okay? So this could be any project in your business. This could be, let's see, like a new advertising campaign that you're doing. And the reason I like moving these folders up to the top and under the work in progress folder is because I'm always in and out of them. So it creates a lot of efficiency, and I don't need to go look for the folders all the way down where it's alphabetized. I'm moving them up. And the way that I move them up is that when I name the folder WIP, I put a little asterisk at the top and I put the number 1_WIP. And what that does is force it to the top of my email folders. And it allows me to create any kind of organizational structure of those folders outside of being alphabetized. And I think that's really useful because alphabetizing isn't always the most efficient way to access your folders. So if you want to force them to be in a certain order, you can put numbers before the file folders to create your own organizational structure that makes sense to you. Because all that matters is that it makes sense to you, so you could be in and out. All right. Again, any questions, just let me know about file folder structures. I'll be happy to share with you. So simple email decision number 5 is to schedule it. So remember, I was telling you that you shouldn't use your inbox as your to-do list, right? And I was telling you that I don't want you to respond to emails that take a long time. So more than a few minutes, to me, that becomes a task. To me, that means that you need to block out specific time to focus on responding to that email. And I like to do that by scheduling the time to do that and moving this email or whatever needs to be responded to my email list. Now, I utilize Outlook. I love Outlook. And with one click, okay, I can program it with one click. I can move the email to my task list, title the task list, and determine when I want to respond to that email. Okay. Now that is for a whole nother class. If there's, you know, an Outlook class with Gmail, this might look as simple as creating a folder that says, you know, maybe this is part of your work in progress folder, like you just have a generic folder, and now you're writing it on your to-do list, or you're adding it to your digital to-do list to respond to Jane Smith regarding neighborhood schools. Like, I want you to be very specific. And those of you that have heard other webinars, you know that I share the tip of being very specific with your task list so that when you go to it, you know what you're supposed to do. You've already created the action that needs to happen, and there's no guesswork. And the reason I want to do this is because I truly believe you should not be living in your inbox. And when it takes some amount of time, let's get it on your to-do list so that when you're working through your to-do list, you can create this as a priority to respond to. Some other things that might, you know, be sticking in your inbox is, you know, someone sends you marketing proofs for let's say, a new listing, and you hired somebody to create flyers. And so you reviewed them and you're like, oh man, I have to actually give some feedback to this and ask them to re-edit it, and it's going to take more than 2 or 3 minutes. Then let's get it on your to-do list to respond to this email and give it the time and attention that it requires. Okay. I think this is really, really important that we're getting out of our inboxes. Let me give you an example and a reason why, because it seems like if that's the way you've always done it, you're kind of like, that seems like more work to actually create a task and then organize it on my task list and then do it when I can actually do it. And here's the reason, is because when it's in our inbox and we respond to the emails in our inbox, we can literally sit there and do it, and we almost always prioritize it over the things that we put on our to-do list. Because when you're in your inbox, you're not looking at your to-do list and saying, hey, okay, so how do I prioritize this? Is this and responding to this more important than that? And when you do not do that on a regular basis, you'll never get to the that. And the growth in your business, the success in your business is often going to be found in the tasks and projects that you're creating for yourself on your to-do list, than always responding to other people's requests. And so this really allows you to properly prioritize what gets your attention. And another way to do this is, if this feels more right to you, is to expand the processing email time. So maybe you're like, you know what, I can actually respond to most all emails and have everything taken care of within a 30-minute period 2 or 3 times a day. And when I have that 30-minute period of time, I can make a decision on all my emails and respond to emails that take more time. That way, when it's not that hour to hour and a half of the day, I'm actually freed up to focus on my to-do list. I hope that makes sense, because that is a great option, okay? So you need to judge what's right for you. But the goal here and the point here is that you're not living in your inbox. All right. So I want to leave you with this on this section. It says checking emails just overloads your inbox with emails that you have to read over and over again. I want you to regularly set time aside daily to identify what actions need to be taken upon each email. So what this means is that on your schedule, on your success, your block schedule, you're going to put time aside to actually process emails. And then you're going to make a decision. Do they need to be deleted or delegated, which is forward, respond, reply, file, or add to your task list, okay? So there's a typo. Sorry about that, guys. So respond and reply are the same thing. So you want to either delete or delegate and forward. Those are the same things. Or respond, which is replying, file, or add to a task list. All right, so I'll make sure I get that fixed. Okay, so many of you may say, okay, so it's not that hard. I got 5 decisions to make in my inbox. And I feel like I can get a hold of my inbox if I do this, and I schedule the time, and that I don't have to live in my inbox, and I don't have to, you know, be tied to my phone and reading emails all day. Okay, so you're going to make a decision on how frequently that is. But Amber, what do I do if I literally have 2,500, 3,000, 5,000 emails in my inbox? Like, how do I get a hold of that, right? And I get it. It's like, oh my gosh, like I want to start this, for example, I want to start this diet, but my pantry is full of all this junk food and chips and ice cream and all the things, and it's just too tempting to go back to my old ways. So I got a solution for you, okay? So I got 5 steps for you to create and to tame your inbox. And essentially what we're gonna do is claim inbox bankruptcy, okay? And I used to just leave it at bankruptcy, but it's actually funny. So for those of you that know, there's 2 types of bankruptcies, probably more, 2 that I know of, Chapter 7, Chapter 13. Chapter 7 is you're just done, like you're not paying any of your debt back, you wipe the debt free and you move forward. Chapter 13 is that you are consolidating your debt and you're making payments to repay back a portion of that debt. And for today's purposes, I'm going to ask you to do a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. which means we are definitely doing a bankruptcy, but I don't think that all 3,000 of those emails need your attention. And so here's how we're going to go about it. Okay. I want you to create a folder that's called To Process. And you're going to create this folder, and you're literally, you're going to have it up on your inbox. Okay. So it's not going to be a buried folder. I want you to like have it up at the top or favorite it. So it's going to be To Process. And number 2, you're going to go in your inbox and you're going to hit Select All. Okay. And you're going to drag all those emails into your To Process folder. Now, for those of you that may be freaking out, they're still searchable, they're found, they're not deleted, they are literally just sitting in like a secondary inbox. And why I want to do that is because I want to bless you with a clean inbox to start the 5 email decisions. Like clean slate, moving forward, this is how I handle my emails. But to do that, we need to do something with all those emails. So even if you have 50 emails in your inbox right now, I want you to move them to the To Process folder. Okay? Make sense? Once they're in there, I want you to consider this cleanup as a project. Okay? So if you think that it takes 2, 3, 4 times a day to process your incoming emails on a daily basis, that is just to maintain the emails that are coming into your world. But I want you to consider cleaning up this backlog as a project. And at the front end, you're going to need to put probably quite a bit of time on cleaning up this project. And I recommend you scheduling time to go in and process these emails the way that I taught you to process the new emails that are coming in. But don't get so excited that you're going to schedule 2 hours of processing your emails, because I guarantee you will not make it. Okay. And here's why. Making decisions is exhausting. Processing emails can be overwhelming. So I'd rather you find blocks of time that you can process these emails. And I'm going to be honest with you, like doing this backlog can be with a glass of wine, watching a Netflix show. Okay. Laptop on your desk, on your lap, and you're like, okay, this isn't truly relaxed time, but I got a glass of wine to make this easier, and I got some TV going, and I'm going to sit here for 45 minutes and process my old emails, which is making those 5 email decisions, okay? So you're going to schedule the time. And then during that scheduled time, I want you to process those emails. Now, you're going to go through the simple 5 email decisions, and you're going to quickly respond, and you're going to forward, and you're going to delete. And then you're going to come across some things that need your attention. All right. And I want you to get those on your to-do list. And as you start this process, initially, it's going to be extra work, right? Because there's probably been things sitting in your inbox that got missed or forgotten that need your attention. So you're going to process them. And then something's going to happen where you're going to get 2 weeks into your emails. Okay, so they're 2 weeks old, or maybe 3 weeks old, or maybe it's this month, or maybe you want to go as far back as last month. But you will know, because there will be a time when you're going through your emails and you're like, there's nothing else being plucked out that I need to do. Okay, and or if I have to do it, it's so old that there's no point in doing the thing. Okay, I can guarantee what you're going to find is a lot of repeat emails, because if you start with the first in, okay, and go backwards, like go further back, what's going to happen is you're going to find that people that were emailing you a month ago, 5 weeks ago, are emailing you again at 4 weeks and at 3 weeks, and you've already handled that situation. Okay, so at some point you're going to go so far back that there is no return in your investment to continue processing. So let me say that again. There's going to be a point where you're processing the backlog that there's going to be no further return on your investment. And when that happens, I want to give you permission to bankrupt it. And what you're going to do is you're just going to rename the folder, and you're going to name it archived, and whatever the date is, archived September 2018 previous. Like these are all the emails from whenever up to September of 2018. So let's just say you went as far back as the first of, let's say you just went back 20 days, right? And so I would actually say it's from August 2018 back is archived. Name it archived, put the date, and you're done with it. Here's the awesome part. It's searchable. You didn't lose the emails. If you have to access anything for a transaction or a deal, you can do that, okay? But they're no longer vying for your attention. They're no longer weighing you down and making you feel like, oh, I have to get in my email. You have safely gone back far enough that you feel like you've done something with everything that needs your attention. All right, so that's how you deal with the backlog. You got to create it as a project. And once that project is done, you are now free from all of those emails and you can continue to move forward with processing your emails. Now, I want you to create a backup script. And what that means is there's going to be a time where you are showing properties to an out-of-town client for multiple days and you're on the road most of the days and you're going to get behind on processing your emails. And that's okay, because that's called life, because that is going to happen. But what I want you to do is have some grace with yourself and move forward and schedule some time to process your emails to get back on track to normal business, because there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. All right. So just so you know, we definitely have a backup option. All right, so I have some next steps for you, okay? So there you go. We covered 5 simple email decisions and five ways to tame your inbox and to pretty much declare bankruptcy on your inbox. If you want to download this printout, you can. I have it so that it prints out in really small that you can actually cut out and put next to your computer or your laptop to remind you about the 5 simple email decisions and to keep you on track to process your emails versus checking your emails. And you can do that at theproductivityspecialist.com/059 download. Okay? 059 download. And that's about what it looks like. If you don't already listen, I have a weekly podcast called Productivity Straight Talk. I do micro trainings like this, but I also bring in some amazing guests. I'm getting ready to do an on-air coaching series so you can get an idea of what coaching looks like in the productivity space and working with me. And you can find me anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, which is like iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio. And if you don't have a podcast player, you can actually listen right on my website, which is productivitystraighttalk.com. I want to leave here and just let you know of an opportunity. I don't usually close out this way, but this is really time sensitive. I am opening up for the first time a group coaching opportunity. And it's going to be a 6-month group coaching program. I have several ladies from Northern California Women's Realtors Conference or Network that are already in this group. And we're starting the first week in October. And essentially, if you want more information, again, I just want to make sure it's a fit for you. But if you want more information about the program, you can go to theproductivityspecialist.com/stop. And STOP stands for 4 productivity pillars that will be covered in the program. And I'm going to show you how to create goals and a strategic plan. And then once you create those, because we've all created them, how do you actually execute on them and get out of your own way? So I'm going to show you how to leverage yourself and your time and your organization and your people. So how do you leverage by all of those 4 pillars? And in each pillar, I will be doing 3 different training modules where we go really deep into each pillar so that you can reclaim your time, be your most productive self, maximize your profits, and still feel like you have time for what matters most. So to get all the deets and all the information, please go take a look at the webpage, theproductivityspecialist.com/stop. If you're interested, I would love to do a discovery call with you. It's going to be about 30 minutes where I'm just going to be chatting with you about what your goals are, what are some current challenges that you're having in your business. If I think that my program's a fit, I will tell you about the program, and then you can decide if you think it's a fit to move forward and be super beneficial for you growing your business. I'm really excited about this program. This program is 6 years of one-on-one coaching and consulting that I have taken everything that I've done in a one-on-one setting and created what I believe to be a very transformational coaching program that touches on all of the aspects that I've seen day in and day out entrepreneurs struggle with. So I really invite you to take me up on that, and I look forward to chatting with you if that is something that would be of interest and help you in your business. It has been a pleasure. I want to respect your time, and I don't see any questions coming in. Hold on, actually I'm checking chat. Is there any questions? Oh, we do have a question. Okay, so I think it says, sorry guys, I'm like trying to look in on what it says. Says, what is the, Linda is asking. Oh my God. So let me see why I can't see all of your guys' stuff. Let me try and open up. Oh, okay, great. So we have a couple questions. One is from Linda. Linda, you asked, why is the difference between a task list and a WIP? Okay, which is work in process. So a task list is the actionables that you're going to do, which should stand alone on your task list. A work in progress folder are the things that come in that pertain to the projects that you're working on. And so it's for filing purposes. You're in and out of it all the time because there's lots of correspondence. And once you read it or do the thing, you want to be able to put it into a folder that it falls under work in progress. And for me, work in progress means it's a current project that's got my attention. Another way for you to look at it would be maybe you have 4 buyers that you're currently actively working on, and there's lots of communication back and forth. And instead of filing those folders under your clients and then all the way down with all the clients, or past clients, whatever that looks like, you're bringing these folders with your clients up to the top under work in progress because you're actively working on them almost on a daily basis. So I hope that helps determine the difference. So one is a filing and one is the actual to do, like what are you gonna do with it? Okay, so then we have another question. Okay, same. The biggest number of daily incoming emails, 200 or more, are from vendors or solicitors who are targeting real estate agents. Some can be unsubscribed. My important emails get lost amongst those. Okay, so there is a program called Unroll Me. I'm sorry, I had to remember. It's called Unroll Me. So search it in Google. It's called Unroll Me. And you put in your email, and it literally tells you all the places that you're subscribed to. And I've done this, and it was literally hundreds. So many that I forgot of, some that I get emails from all the time. And literally within 5 to 10 minutes, you go down it and you click and you say, yes, unsubscribe, 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 unsubscribe. And then, so you choose all the ones you want to unsubscribe, you hit one button and they go out and they unsubscribe you from all those things. So in 5 to 10 minutes, you can be unsubscribed from all of those like solicitations and vendors and maybe email lists that you do not want to be on, okay? Some people have a tendency to just say, it's not a big deal, I'm just going to delete it. But every second that you're looking at it, it's got your attention and you're even taking the time to delete it, it's time you've lost. And if you don't have time to delete it, what's exactly happening is what Linda said, is that the important stuff gets missed, right? And so this is the example of where I'm telling you, if you have a stack of papers and the important thing is number 30, but the first 29 emails are vendors and garbage, you might miss that important email. So I would definitely go search that service. It's free, by the way, totally free, and take advantage of it and unsubscribe from as many as possible. Okay, so I don't see any other questions in here. It has been my pleasure to serve you. I look forward to bringing another webinar to you soon. And if you're interested in working with me, the best way to chat with me is just directly at amber@theproductivityspecialist.com. You can email me there. Bye.